Hello YouTube, Goddard Radio Moscow here again with another beer review for you, as is usual. For this one, we're continuing on with a kind of mini-series of Victorian beers that I've done for you over the last little while. And we're going to stick to the city of Melbourne for this one, and we're going to go to Boatrocker Brewery and have a taste of their Hop Bomb IPA, which is it's an American pale ale, the West Coast style, so this one should be a really big hoppy blast. And a lot of the Australians that I've spoken to about this beer have been very, very positive about this one, so this one should be a really good one for me to review. So as is usual, I'll just tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to read it for yourself and just go straight to the tasting, the brewery website's in the video description for you below, along with a link to my other reviews that I'll hopefully do from Boatrocker in the fairly near future. So anyway, the brewery founder Matt was inspired to homebrew at a very young age by an 80s TV show that was called The Beer Hunter, and this apparently had Michael Jackson in it. I had no idea that he was a big beer fan actually, but as a result he travelled to many famous beer locations such as Belgium, Germany, the obvious places, and he also went to England and Colorado as well. But upon his return to Australia, he said that he really lacked a choice of good beer, but when he returned he actually went to study brewing at Ballarat University, and this was where he met his wife Andrea, and the pair decided then to contract brew a recipe that they'd perfected for their friends, and this actually later became the Alpha Queen beer, and this was then followed by the Hop beer and the Aotearoa Sma. Apologies if my pronunciation isn't quite correct there, but these beers actually went on to win awards at the international beer festivals, and in late 2012 Matt and Andrea actually built their own brewery in Braeside, which is in the southeastern part of Melbourne. So this is quite a well-known little brew pub and things like that, and I've heard that it's definitely worth going and checking out. It's something that I'll need to do at some stage, I'm sure. So we'll get onto the tasting in this guy now. I'll just tell you a little bit about the other beers you can get from these guys. In their regular range they have the Alpha Queen, the Smash and the Hop Bomb, and this is their three regular ones, but there are a few seasonals that come out every so often as well. And they're also planning actually to release a completely limited series and also artisanal series as well, or artisanal, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce that one, so excuse my English for that. But I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at this guy. It's a 6.5% IPA, it's hopped with Chinook, Centennial, Amarillo and Simcoe and also Cascade hops, and it's got a malt bill of mixed local and imported pale malt, and they also use a little bit of light crystal malt in here as well. So I'll just check that you're seeing this right on the camera here. Yeah, as you can see, it's got the kind of rocket with the hop cone on the top of it there. Tells you a little bit on the side. It just says sometimes you just want more malt, more hops, more flavour. This Hop Bomb is brewed in the tradition of the US West Coast IPAs with generous hop additions throughout the boil and loads of dry hopping at the end of fermentation. Enjoy. So it's a 6.5%, 60 IBU West Coast American Pale Ale, and it's got a plain bottle cap as well, just to let you see that. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and actually get on to the tasting here. So here we go. Yeah, you can see a nice little smoky opening on this guy here, so we'll just get it out. I need to actually find a nice kind of tulip glass for doing my reviews here. I've only got this guy for the kind of 0.3 litre bottles, which is a little bit disappointing, but you know, you just deal with it I guess when we're doing these reviews. So as you can see, it's poured the kind of typical colour that you expect of the American Pale Ales. You've got a nice kind of bright clear golden amber colour on this guy here. I'll just bring up the camera and make sure you're seeing this. So it looks really nice. There's a big kind of 2.5 finger slightly off-white head there. It's a little bit beigeish, but it's nice and bumpy and nice and frothy as well, and there's a good bit of carbonation just kind of visible in the beer there. There's a little bit of sediment actually, which is probably just because it's been in the fridge for a few days, which is quite nice actually. It looks like a really attractive beer. Just try and get the last little bit of this in here because it didn't pour too cleanly. You can see a little bit of the sediment coming out here. So as you can see, it's poured like a typical German beer actually. I've been craving a good kind of American style pale ale for the last little while. But as you can see, really beautiful looking beer. So let's take a look at the aroma on this guy here. So you've got the typical sort of fruits that you would expect from this thing. You've got a lot of kind of grapefruit and things in there. Nice big kind of hoppy, fruity nose. There's a lot of tropical fruit in this one. You know, I'm never very good at picking out the exact fruits, but I think there's a good little bit of kind of mangoes in there. It does have that nice It's actually quite obviously mango actually, but there's a good bit of kind of the more sourish grapefruit in the background. But it's definitely a mango in there, and there's some pineapple kind of sweetness mixing it in as well. And you have a good bit of piney resin, which is quite prominent as well. You can't really smell the malt in it too much, but you would really only pick up the malt if it's caramel that's in it. If you use the pale malt, it would come out a little bit more bready in my experience, but it's definitely just, this is a big hoppy blast of beer, this one. The little plodding you can hear going around, by the way, is the dog. I had problems with the microphone in the last few videos, but the little plodding you can hear isn't a problem with the microphone, it's just the dog kind of wandering around. But yeah, it's a really nice kind of smelling, typical sort of fruity IPA, this guy. A lot of nice mangoes, pineapple, passion fruit in there maybe a little bit too, and a lot of grapefruit, and a big piney resin. Everything you would expect of a kind of typical West Coast IPA. Really attractive smelling beer, so without further ado, let's give it a taste. So this is the Hop Bomb IPA from the Boatrocker Brewery from the Braeside part of Melbourne. Cheers. Yeah, a nice big fruity opening there. It's not quite a sharp fruity opening, that's one of the other things to point out. It's more of a nice blend of fruits, this one. It's not quite as sharp and as piney as some of the American pale ales you'll come across, but it does have a big hoppy character to it. Yeah, it kind of follows the nose actually. It's very nice and juicy, a nice juicy tropical fruit on the opening. It's grapefruit and oranges you're getting from this guy actually. Yeah, you've got this really nice kind of oily grapefruit and orangey flavour that just sits at the front of the tongue. You get a little bit of an oily mouthfeel from it just at the start, and it moves towards the front of the tongue. The kind of piney resin flavours are just sitting around the edge, and it gives it that kind of typical dry hoppiness that you expect from this kind of style of beer. But yeah, a nice kind of big grapefruit presence in this one, but the piney resin is actually is really quite punchy in this one. It kind of overpowers a little bit of the fruit, I think. But I really like IPAs that have that big kind of piney blast to them. It's very, very nice. But you can pick up I think there's just a little bit of the mango and pineapple in there, but it's very subtle actually. It comes out a lot more in the aroma. The aroma has a lot more of this kind of mango-y element to it, but it really is a big grapefruit and slightly orangey flavour, this one, but the pine resin is probably the most prominent flavour in this. You can really taste the kind of pale malt coming out as well. Usually with the West Coast IPAs you've got a good hint of a kind of darker caramel flavour, but this one just has a nice kind of pale, almost whitish bread flavour coming out. And it really just sits in the middle of the tongue there, and then you've got the piney resin around the edge of the palate with the kind of more oily, fruity flavours at the very front of the tongue. There's a little bit of grainy character to it as well, I think, and it's maybe the bread is maybe just slightly toasted, but it's a very, very nice blend of flavours, this one. And if you really, really like your sort of piney IPAs or American pale ales, this is definitely one for you to check out. This is a really, really good beer. May even be the best one I've tried from Australia so far. I would say with the mouthfeel of this one, it's definitely kind of mid-bodied. It's got a nice little oily character to it as well, and the carbonation is really, it's quite moderate, but it's very, very clean. That's the other thing you notice about this one. It's very clean, and that kind of helps bring out the kind of pale crystal malt flavours in this. It's really, really nice, and it's a very refreshing one as well, and it's got a nice kind of long-lasting bitterness that just sits around the edge of the tongue. And as I said, that was where you're getting these really nice kind of grassy, not grassy, kind of pine resiny flavours coming out that are just sitting around the edge of the tongue there. It's a really beautifully done American Pale Ale, this one. It's cool to find another IPA that can kind of live up to the same reputation as Little Creatures. Obviously Little Creatures is the main Australian kind of IPA style beer that we get back in Scotland, so it's really cool to find a kind of truly local Australian one that kind of has that same profile to it. This is a very, very, very good beer, so if you do find yourself in Melbourne, go over to Braeside and have a little check out of this brewery. Apparently their food menu is very good there as well. Check out the brewery website in the description below and have a look for yourselves. But yeah, if you like a really nice kind of bitter, fruity, hoppy IPA with a little bit of a bready backbone, if you like the piney flavours as well, this is definitely one for you to try. But I've really enjoyed this one, so I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of it, I'm sure now. But I thank you again for watching my beer reviews. As always, please let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer and in the brewery if you have actually been there yourself. It's always interesting to hear your thoughts. To my Australian viewers, I do ask that if you have any beers that you would like me to review at some point, please let me know about them and where I can pick them up. I'm not quite familiar with that down here in Australia yet, so please suggest beers for me to review while I'm down here. I'm really enjoying actually reviewing these Australian beers because we don't get them at home so much in Scotland. But I thank you all for watching my beer reviews. Please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, and I will catch you soon with my next review.